Hi guys. Hey guys. Today I'm doing the Sonic 1 review from the Rolling Creeper. Finally.
Oh my god. Finally talking about Sonic. Okay, so up to this point I've only really been talking about stuff like Mario, Kirby, and Mega Man, but there's one thing I just needed to do to tell y'all. I am a Sonic fan. Damn it. Like seriously, I'm a Sonic fan. Sonic's one of my favorite franchises. I've just never gotten around to talking about him. Like after the Tetris video, I kind of just got sidetracked. Like I was talking about Kirby, the Behemoth, that is the Action 52 review, and then I finally got around to talk about Mega Man, and then decided to review Mega Man 2 and 3 as well. And now we are finally here to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog. And today we're going to be talking about his first game, Sonic. Should be here. Well, it appears I don't have Sonic 1 on the Genesis, which is weird, because I have Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles, and even Spinball and 3D Blast, and hell, I even have Sonic 1 on the Master System, but it appears I don't own the Genesis Sonic 1. Let me see, I think I have 6 packs somewhere. Hello, my name's Sonic. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Sonic, what are you doing here?
That's a good question.
Anyway, I gotta go beat Dr. Eggman. Wait, wasn't his name Dr. Robot? Nick. Huh. Well, that was weird. Wait, I forgot something. Huh. Sonic 1. Well, I guess I don't have any excuse to not review it now.
Whoops.
Development and history. So the year was 1991 and Sega sucked. Remember the Master System? No? Well, neither do I.
Good.
Now the Genesis, to start off, it actually sold decently at launch, but it was nowhere close to the success of the NES that came before. Then a group of Sega members came together. After throwing some designs around, they settled on this guy named Mr. Needlemouse, who eventually became Sonic the Hedgehog, colored blue like the Sega logo, in contrast with Mario shoes inspired by Michael Jackson shoes. Do these look alike?
No!
There was also this scrapped human girlfriend character, which, like, my brain cannot understand why and how Sonic could and would be dating a human.
Yeah.
And if you bring up that character in Sonic 06, I will kick you in the balls. Say what you want to, I prefer Sonic to be dating his own kind.
And fun fact, Sonic's own kind is actually called Mobians. If you already know that, sorry, but if you didn't, it's just a little fact that I know about. And yes, I'm trying to fix my headphones, which are dead for now.
Call me a Sonic shipper, if you will.
A Shawning? Did he mean Sonic because it sounded like he said Shawning?
There was also the concept of this guy in pajamas who would eventually become Dr. Eggman, who would then be localized for America as Dr. Ivo Robotnik, which is actually my preferred name for him. I know he was later renamed Eggman in America anyways, but I'm still going to call him Robotnik. Even games he's called Eggman, because
I don't know. I just like to call him Robotnik. Maybe I'm just retarded. I don't know. After spending 6 fucking months on Green Hill Zone, getting some aliens out of Marble Zone, Sparkling Zone became Spring Yard, and the Clockwork became the Scrap Brain. The game was then released and sold very well. Like, look on the list of best-selling games. Scroll down a bit, there it is. It easily saved the Genesis, and then the Genesis would be directly competing with the Super Nintendo. Also, I know it's called the Mega Drive outside America, but Mega Drive just sounds fucking lame. Box art is cool, I guess. I do like Greg Martin's style. He'd keep making these until Knuckles Chaotix, and then afterwards he was replaced with...
Oh, cool Sonic 3D games.
My personal experience with Sonic 1 definitely goes back a while. Well, the first gaming thing I owned was this Atari Flashback, which I still own, but I rarely use it. And I also had this random Miss Pac-Man plug-and-play thing, but I then broke it but then that thing accidentally broke, so... My first real console I had was the Xbox One. I know this is the 360 because my actual Xbox 360 is in my living room, so... Yeah, and I don't really want to bother my mom over it. But yeah, the first console I really had was the Xbox One. Now, there are 3 main games I remember from this. There's Minecraft, which again I know this is the 360 version, but yeah, I have lots of fond memories of playing Minecraft often. Yeah, it's the reason why. Also remember the Lego Movie video game, and that was alright, but I very quickly left it behind. However, one game that fascinated me at the time was this game called Sega Genesis Classics. And while the first game I really touched was Column 3, my attention was then drawn to Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, the first time I actually played it, I barely could get anywhere. Like, when I got to Green Hill Act 2, then I fell into a section I didn't know how to get out of, and then I kind of just but then doing some exploring, and I just fall into a section with spikes, and I just die. And yeah, that was my first Sonic 1 experience. It was interesting, but the game was also really hard at the time. I've been played Sonic 2 and couldn't get past Chemical Plant Zone Act 2, and then I learned the wonderful feature of this collection. Rewind. Yes, I've been using Rewind. I beat Sonic 2 and then Sonic 1, and then I think I beat Sonic 3D Blast sometime after that, but I didn't actually beat Sonic Spinball until last year. But yeah, Sonic 1 and 2 have always stuck with me, whether it was on Sega Genesis Classics, using my grandpa's old-ass computer to emulate games. Yeah, there's this brief period between, like, around 2019 to around 2021, 2022-ish, where I just emulated tons of games. I mean, I still emulate games to this day, but I don't do it as much. Then when I recently got the N64, it was when I started collecting in consoles. And after having plenty of fun with Mario 64 and Kirby 64, I then decided to get a GameCube, mostly because of the Sonic games on it. And yeah, this is actually a pretty funny thing, but I've never actually gotten into third-party stuff on the GameCube. Like, I know there's a lot of good games on it, but I've just never gotten into it yet. And also because GameCube games are just really fucking expensive at the moment. Now, the first game I actually got was Sonic Mega Collection. Now, I originally wanted Sonic Gems Collection due to it having Sonic CD and some of the Game Gear games, but I had to settle for Mega Collection at the time. Although I would get Gems Collection later, which I still have both of these, as you can see. But yeah, Mega Collection has all 7 of the Sonic Genesis games, and for this collection, my love for these games grew. Mostly. Though nowadays I actually own a Sega Genesis and I have all the Sonic games for it. With the exception of Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. So yeah, this is why I'm kind of biased towards the Genesis games, CD, Master System games, and yes, I am even somewhat biased towards Sonic Blast. Fucking Sonic Blast. I hate to say it, but yeah. I also remember watching a playthrough of Sonic 4 Episode 1 and really wanting to play it for myself. Now that I can, I have sort of mixed feelings on the game. Redirecting back to Sonic 1, I can say that I've really enjoyed this game over time. And yeah, I've also been beating Labyrinth Zone way before people have been taking a dump on the zone, way before I really used the internet to know. Although I have always hated Scrap Brain Act 3. In fact, after my initial playthrough, it took me 7 years to actually attempt to do the normal path again without using this shortcut. Anyways, this section is over a page long in the script, so it's time for the plot. There was this island called South Island, and then Robotnik came and built a brain scrapper to find the 6 legendary Chaos Emeralds. He also transformed some animals to robots to help the search. Sonic then realizes this and goes to stop Robotnik. Decent plot, 8 out of 10. Graphics. This game looks pretty good. I do like how all the levels look, with maybe the exception of Starlight, because the background's just stars and dull-looking buildings, and doesn't really look appealing. Sonic Robotnik look really good, although the Robotnik signpost is kind of missing his triangle thingies. One criticism I do have is that the colors are a bit dull, but it does give this game a more Genesis-like feel, so I guess 7 out of 10. Presentation. It's alright. Title cards look okay. Nothing I really need to say. 8 out of 10. Some days I feel like just removing this category. Music. Green Hill is good and iconic. Marble has a pretty good theme, and then the rest of the songs are just okay, but most of this game's music I'm not going out of my way to listen to. 6 out of 10. Gameplay. This game controls pretty well, and the controls are pretty good. And all 3 of the buttons on the Genesis controller make you jump. And also for you 6-button controller users, I just want to tell you this. The X, Y, and Z buttons do nothing in any of the Genesis Sonic games. Not even Sonic CD or Knuckles Chaotix. So, yeah. I'm going to be using my 3-button controller though, since my 6-button controller is actually broken. Besides, even before it broke, it's been having some issues. And, yeah. Yeah, like, even in the Waldo review. So it turns out the reason why the game wasn't pausing right in the Waldo review was actually because of the 6-button controller. But when I'm using my 3-button controller, it works perfectly fine. And even Sonic games had the issues with this controller, which no longer matter since I have a 3-button controller now. Now, this game doesn't have a run button, however, compared to Mario, there's more natural momentum. Instead of holding a button to move faster, Sonic just naturally gains speed by running, going down slopes, rolling down surfaces. It's hard to describe, but it works really well. Jumping is also affected by slopes and momentum. The manual calls this the supersonic spin attack. However, as you might have already known, every living being with cells calls it the jump. So yeah, it's fun to jump off slopes with tons of momentum and fly to higher platforms. And it also helps how generous the health system is. Instead of a health bar or something like that, or the mushrooms in Mario, you have these rings. And these are all over the levels like coins in Mario. Now, if you get hit without rings,
You will die.
however, if you get hit with rings, you will simply get knocked back in. All of your rings will scatter, but you can pick them back up. There's also item boxes. Rings will give you 10 rings. There's a shield which will let you take damage before dying or losing your rings. There's speed shoes, go faster, invincibility, and extra lives. And it's pretty nice. Green Hill is a pretty fun playground to learn the physics, and Aside from all the spikes in Act 2, yeah, it made my first attempt at beating this game really bad. It also doesn't help that there's the spike bug in the original Genesis version, where if you get hit by spikes, the game just ignores your invincibility frames. The game does alternate between faster and slower levels, and honestly, I don't mind these slower levels. They're enjoyable. I also like how the game sometimes lets you choose how you accomplish tasks. Like, you could take the slower path over spikes, get this one, or you could just jump off the slope. It's good game design, and I like it. Also, what do you guys consider the worst Sonic 1 zone?
Labyrinth zone.
Labyrinth zone's labyrinth zone. Labyrinth zone.
Labyrinth zone.
Marble zone.
Now let me just tell you guys something. Labyrinth Zone isn't that bad. Like, you still, I mean, sure, you're a bit slower, but you still have plenty of momentum. And yeah, you're just a bit slower. That's all it really is. There's also a drowning mechanic, which, honestly, it's actually a pretty good mechanic. Because aside from maybe getting traumatized by the drowning muse, it's actually pretty fun, because then you have to worry about... Because honestly, you worrying about getting air in a water level, it's handled pretty well here. And yeah. So, this game does have a drowning mechanic, but it implements it well. And yeah, that's why the water levels in Mario 64 are pretty good, because of how easy it is to get air. And games like Echo the Dolphin kind of falter because they don't give you air enough. Also, I don't really like the giant spiky balls or the moving blocks in Spring Yard, and I also don't really get why there's this purple line at the bottom. Okay. Speaking of bottoms, I hate the bottomless pits in Starlight Zone, and that zone is overall whatever. Fans in this level suck. There is this one that is programmed wrong, and also just Scrap Brain. Scrap Brain sucks. Like, everything, it suck. Stupid flipping platforms, electric mushrooms, crush barrels, flamethrowers, giant saws, Robotnik wants you dead, god damn. Alright, I'm done with the first two acts of this bullshit. What's next? The music changed. Okay, what the hell? I can't get past this laser fiend. What that button? Oh shit. Well, okay, one stage left. And it's Labyrinth again. And there's bullshit spike balls everywhere, and this level is probably one of the worst 2D Sonic levels I have ever played. Worse than the likes of Sandopolis, Scrambled Egg, Blue Marine, Egg Rocket. Scrap Brain Act 3 is just worse than all of these, unless you take this secret path and the level's like 30 seconds long before the final boss. Aside from Scrap Brain, the game is just really fun, and it's an enjoyable game. It's gameplay's 9 out of 10. Bosses. These bosses are alright. The first one has this Wrecking Ball to avoid. Marble boss has fire to avoid while hitting Robotnik. Spring Yard boss flies around and slowly removes blocks from the floor. Labyrinth boss is just chasing up a dangerous tunnel. You don't even have to kill him, just avoid the tridents in water. You definitely want to do that, because if you fall the wrong way, you can actually fall all the way down to the bottom. The boss of Starlight Zone is actually kind of fun, because there's the balance beams, and then Final Zone has these crushers and electric balls, but it's an alright boss. Although you can hit the boss while it's blowing up to reset the boss's health to 255 hits. There's no reason to do this, but you can. The boss has tried, but this is a 6 out of 10. After beating the final boss, Robotnik then runs into his mech, and then Sonic deals the final blow, and Robotnik falls into the exploding factory. Sonic then runs through Green Hill and does a cool pose, then roll credits. It's an alright ending, but 5 out of 10. Wait, try again. Alright, you fat fuck, I'll get those emeralds. Which leads into extras in completion. So if you finish one of the first two acts of any zone besides Scrap Brain with 50 or more rings, you can then jump to a special stage ring to access a special stage, where you go around a 360 rotating maze and then you go down the path to the main room, where an emerald hides behind a breakable wall. You get 10 chances and there's 6 emeralds. emeralds, so you can only mess up 4 times. Which is sometimes easy to do, but once you get all of them, beat the final boss, Sonic plants some dookie looking flowers using the emeralds. Robotnik Jin jumps on the end, 5 out of 10. And this leaves us with a 54 out of 80, or a 67.5%. This game was pretty good despite the flaws, so I'll put it in a high A tier. This game is really fun, and there's tons of ways to play this game. Lots of collections. This GBA version that is so bad that I might do a future video on it. You can download it on your phone for free, and it's only $2 to get rid of the ads permanently. Also adds the Spin Dash, Tails and Knuckles, and plenty of quality of life features. In fact, it even...
Yeah, and I even have 2 Sonic games. Let me see if we can find them. There. Let me just grab one of them. One of them must be... Okay, this one right here is a 2-in-1. It's a double pack. It's Sonic Mania and Sonic Racing. Team Sonic Racing. And the other one is from Xbox. Sonic All-Star Racing Transformed. Yeah.
even fixes the Robotnik sign so he has his triangle thingies. And also, this version is also included in Sonic Origins, which also adds Amy if you have the Plus version. The one thing I hate about this remake, though, is just the special stages, because with the original one, I could easily get used to the choppiness of it. But then you look at these, and it's like it rotates so smoothly, and I want to puke because of it. Give me that choppy rotation. So while Sonic 1 was pretty good, now I kind of want to see how the sequels improve on it. So next time we're going to be talking about Sonic 2 for the Genesis, which, yeah, I mean, it's pretty obviously that I'd be talking about the sequel, but yeah, gotta like and subscribe if you want, and if you have Discord, you can join my server if you want.
Which I already am on.
Anyways, bye.
And that was it. This is the end. Finally got through it. I don't know, after how many days? 1 month. After 1 month. Well, that will be it. And see you guys later. Bye.